I still can't explain what happened that night at the pet shop. I've gone over it 1,000 times in my head, trying to make sense of it, but every time I do, I get that same sick feeling in my gut. All I know for sure is that I'll never set foot in that store again. It was just a regular Thursday night, and I had some time to kill. There's this little pet shop near my apartment that stays open late, and I figured I'd stop by and check out the animals. I didn't plan on buying anything. I just wanted to look around, maybe pet a few of the cats and kittens. It sounded relaxing, at least at the time. When I walked in, the place was dimly lit, but it smelled like fresh wood chips and animal feed. Typical pet shop stuff. A couple of other people were browsing the aisles, and the shop owner was busy stocking shelves behind the counter. It felt peaceful, almost too quiet. I wandered through the aisles, glancing at the birds in their cages and the aquariums bubbling away in the corner. Hamsters ran in their wheels, and a couple of ferrets stared at me from behind glass, their noses pressed against the glass in curiosity. It was a nice place, nothing out of the ordinary. Then I made my way to the cat section. That's when things got weird. There was a small room at the back of the shop with a glass door that read "Cats and Kittens." I pushed it open, and the soft jingling of a bell announced my arrival. The room was cozy, plush beds and scratching posts scattered around, with little kittens playing lazily while the older cats stretched and lounged in their cages. The air smelled faintly of catnip. I sat down on one of the stools near the corner where a large, fluffy tabby cat was curled up. When I reached out to pet him, he purred instantly, nuzzling into my hand. It felt good, soothing even. A tiny gray kitten wandered over to me, batting at my shoelaces, and I couldn't help but laugh. Everything felt calm, peaceful. For a few minutes, it was exactly what I needed, a quiet moment with some friendly cats. But then, something changed. It started with a low growl from one of the larger cats in a corner cage. At first, I thought it was just being territorial. I tried to ignore it, focusing on the kittens at my feet, but then another cat joined in, hissing and arching its back. Within seconds, it was like a chain reaction. Every cat in the room, every single one, began snarling and growling. Their eyes, wide and glowing in the dim light, locked onto me. I froze, my hand hovering there. It felt like the temperature in the room dropped a few degrees. The air grew thick with tension, and the sounds... Oh man, the sounds were awful. The cats weren't just meowing. They were making these horrible guttural noises like something out of a horror movie. I tried to stand up slowly, hoping they'd calm down, but the moment I moved, the first cat lunged at me. Its claws raked across my arm, and I yelped in shock and pain. Before I could react, another cat, an orange one this time, leapt from a nearby shelf and landed on my back, sinking its claws into my shoulders. I stumbled, trying to swat them away, but more cats were already coming. They swarmed me, hissing, scratching, and biting. It was like they'd all lost their minds at once. I screamed, more out of fear than pain, and the noise must have triggered something because the other people in the shop started screaming too. I tripped over a scratching post and hit the ground hard, knocking the wind out of myself. The cats didn't stop. They kept coming, their claws digging into my skin, their snarls filling my ears. I could feel them pulling at my clothes, biting at my hands, my legs, my neck. One of them sank its claws deep into my ankle, and I kicked wildly, trying to shake it off. Another one swiped at my face, and I barely managed to shield myself with my arm. It was chaos. Pure, unhinged chaos. The shop owner rushed in, his face pale with confusion and panic. "What the hell is happening?" he shouted, but he didn't move to help. He just stood there, staring at the scene unfolding in front of him, like he didn't know what to do. I could hear the other customers screaming, shouting for someone to do something, but no one dared step into the room. The cats were like a pack of wild animals, completely out of control. I struggled to my feet, kicking and swatting at the swarming cats, adrenaline taking over. My arms and legs burned from the scratches, and my heart pounded so hard I thought it might explode. One cat clung to my jacket, snarling and scratching, but I managed to rip it off and throw it across the room. It landed on its feet, of course, hissing furiously as it prepared to pounce again. I didn't wait. I bolted for the door, ignoring the sharp pain in my ankle and the stinging cuts on my arms. The glass door slammed open as I burst out of the cat room, gasping for air. I didn't stop. I ran straight for the front entrance, my footsteps echoing loudly through the shop. The other customers scattered out of my way, their faces a mix of fear and confusion. The shop owner shouted something after me, but I didn't hear him. I was too focused on getting out. The moment I hit the cold night air, I kept running. I didn't stop until I was halfway down the block, panting and shaking, my heart still racing. When I finally dared to glance back at the pet shop, everything looked normal from the outside. The lights glowed softly, and I could see the owner pacing behind the counter. It was as if nothing had happened, like the madness inside the cat room had been some kind of nightmare I'd stepped into by accident. I never went back to that pet shop. I couldn't. Even now, just thinking about it gives me chills. I still have a couple of faint scars on my arms and legs, little reminders of that night. And every time I see a cat, no matter how friendly it seems, I can't help but feel a flicker of fear, like maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for the right moment to turn on me too.